How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, December 11th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I am going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Saturday, December 10th, and I am going to preview what's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Taking a quick step back, taking a look at what's going on in Qatar, we are now down to 4 teams in the FIFA World Cup as the semifinal matchup between Argentina and Croatia will take place on Tuesday. Taking a look at what's going on with college sports here in the U.S., Army would beat Navy in second overtime, although neither team is ranked. College basketball would see the number 1 team in the nation, Houston, lose to another top 10 team, as there was a lot of college basketball action yesterday. In the professional level, there is NFL football going on today, as today is Sunday. There was a lot of NHL and NBA action as we look at the arenas as well. And of course, there's a lot more going on today as we're still in the first half of the NHL and the NBA season. Jumping out first to what's going on in Qatar in the FIFA World Cup, the quarterfinal round is officially over and the semifinal round is set up. I will preview the semifinal round the day before it actually happens. But of course, looking first at Friday's matchups, Croatia and Argentina would advance after Croatia beat Brazil on penalty kicks and Argentina beat the Netherlands. Looking to see how the other semifinal matchup would shape up, the first game would be between Morocco and Portugal. Morocco would enter this round after finishing with 7 points in the group stage, drawing with Croatia, who's already in the semis, and they would end up winning their group stage matchups against Belgium and Canada to make it to the knockout stages. Once Morocco would make it to the round of 16, they would end up drawing with Spain, going to penalty kicks, as they would end up winning the penalty kick round 3-0 thanks to their goalie Yassine Bounou. Once they would make it, or I guess now looking at how Portugal would make it to this round, Portugal would finish at the top of Group H with wins over Ghana and Uruguay, and they would lose their group stage match to South Korea, so South Korea can make it through to the round. In the round of 16, Portugal would beat Switzerland 6-1, seeing the only hat trick of the World Cup so far come from Gonzalo Ramos as he started over Cristiano Ronaldo. They would see goals from Pepe, Rafael Guerrero, and Rafael Leao to help them get here. And then once they would make it to this quarterfinal round, Morocco would end up beating Portugal 1-0 to be the first African nation to advance to the semifinal in World Cup history. Morocco's lone goal will come from Youssef En-Nesyri in the 42nd minute. They would pick up a red card in like the 93rd minute, but they were doing a great job of keeping Portugal scoreless, as Morocco has not let their opponents score on them at all in the World Cup, including Spain in the round of 16, just for context. So of course, with this win, Morocco will advance to the quarterfinal, or to the semifinal round, where they will face off against France on Wednesday, December 14th, the day after Argentina will play Croatia. And then, of course, looking at the other matchup, Morocco is going to face off against France after France would beat England 2-1 yesterday. Looking at how both these teams would make it, England would win Group B with wins over Iran and Wales and a draw against the United States. In the round of 16, England would actually go on and win their matchup 3-0 against Senegal with goals from Jordan Henderson, Harry Kane, and Bukayo Saka. Looking at how the reigning World Cup champs France would make it to the quarterfinal round, they would finish at the top of Group D with wins over Denmark and Australia, but they would lose their last group stage match to Tunisia. In the round of 16, France would go on and beat Poland 3-1 with Olivier Giroud breaking the record to become France's all-time leading goal scorer, and they would see a brace from Kylian Mbappe, who currently has the most goals in this World Cup. In their game yesterday, France would end up beating England 2-1. France's first goal will come in the first half from Aurélien Tchouameni, their midfielder who currently plays for Real Madrid, as France was leading 1-0 at the half. England would tie it up in the 54th minute with a penalty kick goal from Harry Kane. France would get the lead right back in the 78th minute with Olivier Giroud's 78th minute goal. Harry Kane will get another penalty kick chance as he completely missed the goal. But with this win, France will advance to the semifinals, possibly putting to bed the winner's curse that happens with everyone that's won the World Cup. With this win, France will face off against Morocco on Wednesday, December 14th, after Argentina plays Croatia. So, of course, there are now 4 teams left, as England will be the last team to go home in the quarterfinal round. Like I said, the FIFA World Cup will pick up in a couple of days on Tuesday, as Argentina will face off against Croatia. Taking a look at what's going on here in the U.S., in college football, Army would face off against Navy. Even though neither team was ranked, it would go to double overtime, as Army would end up beating Navy 20-17. This game would go on and be won by a field goal from Quinn Moretsky from 39 yards out. On the losing end of this matchup, unranked Navy would be led in passing by Xavier Arline. He only threw 1 pass, and it was 25 yards. He also was the leading rusher, as he had 102 yards. He had 127 yards of offense. Navy's second leading rusher, Anton Hall Jr., had 7 receptions for 99 yards, as he had the team's lone rushing touchdown. Navy's leading tackler would be Nicholas Straw, their senior linebacker out of Lebanon, Ohio. He had 9 tackles and half of a tackle for loss. On the winning end of this matchup, the unranked Army Black Knight would be led in passing by Cade Ballard. He threw for 28 yards. Their leading rusher was Tahir Tyler. He had 23 carries for 62 yards. Army's leading tackler would be Leo Lowen. Their junior out of Austin, Texas, would go on and finish with 16 tackles for the day, as Army finished with neither a sack or an interception. They would finish their season with a 6-6 record, and with this loss, unranked Navy will finish their regular season with a 4-8 record. College football will, of course, resume with bowl week beginning in the next few days. The first bowls will be played on Friday, December 16th, as I should take you through the bowl games one by one. Taking a look at what's going on with college basketball, the highest ranked basketball team that would play yesterday would be the top ranked Houston Cougars. They would host the 8th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama would end up giving Houston their first loss of the season, as Alabama would beat Houston in Houston 71-65. They won this game by 6 after they outscored the Cougars by 10 in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the top-ranked Houston Cougars were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jamal Sheed. He had 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 8 for 20 from the field. He would make both of his free throws on the night. On the winning end of this matchup, the 8th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Noah Clowney. Their freshman out of Roebuck, South Carolina, would finish with 16 points and 11 rebounds, as well as 2 blocks in 28 minutes. He would shoot 7 for 12 from the field. He would go on and shoot 2 for 6 from 3 as well. With this win, the Alabama Crimson Tide are 8-1, and with this loss, the top-ranked Houston Cougars, no longer undefeated, are 9-1. Looking at the number 2 team in the nation, the Texas Longhorns would host the unranked Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. Texas would more than double Arkansas Pine Bluff's score at home. They won it 88-43 to win this game by 45. They would outscore Pine Bluff by 16 in the first half and then by 29 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the second-ranked Longhorns would be led in scoring by their forward off the bench, Christian Bishop. Their senior out of Lee's Summit, Missouri, would finish with 16 points and 9 rebounds in 20 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field, as he made both of his free throws. With this win, the second-ranked Texas Longhorns are 7-1 this year, and with this loss, unranked Arkansas Pine Bluff has only won 3 of their first 11 games, sitting at 3-8. Looking at the 4th-ranked team in the nation, the Purdue Boilermakers would go to Nebraska and take the Cornhuskers into overtime. Purdue would remain undefeated after beating Nebraska 65-62 after outscoring Nebraska by 3 in overtime. Nebraska would outscore Purdue by 10 in the second half in order to tie it. However, on the winning end of this matchup, the 4th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers were led in scoring by their starting guard, Fletcher Loyer. Their freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Indiana would finish with 22 points in 33 minutes. He shot 9 for 21 from the field and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. Purdue's starting center out of Canada, Zach Edey, had 11 points, 17 rebounds, 7 blocks, and 5 turnovers in 43 minutes. Edey shot 5 for 7 from the field. With this win, the 4th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers are 10-0, remaining undefeated. They are now 2-0 in the Big Ten. That is currently the best record in the conference. With this loss, unranked Nebraska is 6-5. They are 0-2 in the Big Ten, tied with Illinois and Minnesota for the worst conference record at this very point. Moving on down the line, looking at the 5th-ranked team in the nation, UConn would end up hosting the unranked Long Island University Sharks. UConn would win this game 114-61. They won this game by 53 points after outscoring Long Island by 35 in the first half and then by 18 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup at home, the 5th-ranked UConn Huskies were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jordan Hawkins. Their sophomore out of Gaithersburg, Maryland, would finish with 22 points in 23 minutes. He shot 7 for 11 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3. He would make both of his free throws on the day. Their center off the bench, Donovan Clingan, had 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 15 minutes. He would make all 10 of his shots on the day as he was 1 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, the 5th-ranked UConn Huskies are 11-0. And with this loss, the unranked Long Island University Sharks are 1-8 to start their college basketball season. Looking at the 6th-ranked team in the nation, the defending champs Kansas Jayhawks would face off against the unranked Mizzou Tigers. Mizzou would come into this game undefeated. Kansas would give them their first loss of the year, beating them 95-67 in Missouri. They would win by 28 points after outscoring Mizzou by 17 in the first half and then by 11 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the 6th-ranked Jayhawks would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Jalen Wilson. Their junior out of Denton, Texas, would go on and finish with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 steals in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Kansas' starting guard, Kevin McCullough Jr., had 21 points and 5 steals in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field as he made all 3 of his free throw attempts on the night. With this win, the 6th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks are currently sitting on a 9-1 record, as this is their first game away from home, and they are 1-0 on the road. With this loss, the unranked Missouri Tigers are 9-1. As of right now, they are 8-1 at home, with their only loss coming against the defending champs. Looking at the 9th-ranked team in the nation, the Arkansas Razorbacks would host the unranked Oklahoma Sooners. Arkansas came in with 1 loss, and they would leave with 1 loss after they beat the Sooners by 10. They won it 88-78. They would outscore Oklahoma by 7 in the second half to extend their lead. And on the winning end of this matchup, the 9th-ranked Razorbacks were led in scoring by their starting guard, Ricky Council IV. Their junior out of Durham, North Carolina, would finish with 26 points and 5 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 10 for 15 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 5 for 7 from the free throw line. Arkansas starting guard Nick Smith Jr. had 21 points in 29 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field as he made all 4 of his free throw attempts. With this win, the 9th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks are holding on to a 9-1 record, and with this loss, unranked Oklahoma is 7-3 this year. Looking at the 10th-ranked team in the nation, the Arizona Wildcats would host the 14th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers in the Las Vegas Clash. In this top 15 matchup, 10th-ranked Arizona would beat 14th-ranked Indiana 89-75. They won this game by 14 after outscoring the Hoosiers by 10 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the 14th-ranked Hoosiers would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Race Thompson. He had 16 points and 9 rebounds in 28 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field, and he would shoot 4 for 7 from the three-point line. Indiana starting guard Xavier Johnson had 11 points and 11 assists in 26 minutes. He shot 3 for 13 from the field, and he made all 4 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the 10th-ranked Arizona Wildcats would be led in scoring by their starting forward out of Lithuania, Azuolas Tubelis. He will go on and finish with 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 28 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Arizona starting center Oumar Ballo had 15 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He shot 6 for 9 from the field on the day. And with this win, the 10th ranked Arizona Wildcats are 8-1. And with this loss, the 14th ranked Indiana Hoosiers are 8-2. Moving on down and looking at what's going on with the 15th ranked team in the nation, my Duke Blue Devils would host the unranked Maryland Eastern Shore Hawks. Duke would win this game over the Hawks by 27. They won it 82-55 after outscoring Maryland Eastern Shore by 18 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 15th ranked Blue Devils would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Dariq Whitehead, and their starting guard, Tyrese Proctor. Dariq Whitehead, Duke's freshman out of Newark, New Jersey, would finish with 15 points and 2 steals in 25 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field as he made both of his free throws. Tyrese Proctor, Duke's freshman out of Sydney, would finish with 15 points in 26 minutes. He would shoot 5 for 9 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he would make all 3 of his free throw attempts on the night. With this win, the 15th ranked Duke Blue Devils are 10-2. And with this loss, unranked Maryland Eastern Shore is holding on to a 3-7 record right now. Transitioning into the 16th ranked team in the nation, Kentucky would host unranked Yale in Rupp Arena. Kentucky would end up beating Yale 69-59. They won this game by 10 after outscoring the Bulldogs by 6 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, 16th ranked Kentucky would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Oscar Tshiebwe. Their senior out of Congo would go on and finish with 28 points, 12 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 13 for 18 from the field, and he would shoot 2 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, 16th ranked Kentucky is holding on to a 7-2 record, and with this loss, unranked Yale is 8-3. Looking at what's going on with the 17th team in the nation, Illinois would host unranked Penn State, and the unranked Penn State Nittany Lions would upset Illinois at home. They would win it by 15. They won it 74-59. They would outscore Illinois by 9 in the first half and then by 6 in the second. On the losing end of this matchup, the 17th ranked Fighting Illini were led in scoring by Matthew Meyer. He had 14 points in 23 minutes. He shot 4 for 11 from the field and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the unranked Penn State Nittany Lions were led in scoring by their starting guards, Jalen Pickett and Andrew Funk. Pickett would finish with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 40 minutes, as Penn State's senior out of Rochester, New York, would shoot 9 for 17 from the field and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Andrew Funk would finish with 20 points and 3 steals in 37 minutes, as Penn State's senior out of Warrington, Pennsylvania, would shoot 7 for 11 from the field. He shot 6 for 9 from 3. With this win, the unranked Penn State Nittany Lions are 7-3. They are 1-1 in the Big Ten, tied with Maryland, Indiana, Rutgers, and Michigan State for what is now the 6th best record in the Big Ten. With this loss, 17th ranked Illinois is 7-3. Their 0-2 Big Ten conference record ties them with Nebraska and Minnesota for the worst record in their conference as of right now. Taking a look at what would happen in Los Angeles and Pauley Pavilion, the 19th ranked UCLA Bruins would end up hosting the unranked Denver Pioneers. UCLA would beat Denver 86-64 at home. They won it by 23 points after outscoring Denver by 14 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 19th ranked Bruins would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Jalen Clark. Their junior from Riverside, California, would finish with 24 points and 4 steals in 24 minutes. He shot 10 for 13 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the 19th ranked UCLA Bruins are 8-2 this year. They are undefeated at home so far. With this loss, the unranked Denver Pioneers are 8-3 this season. Moving on to the 21st ranked team in the nation, the Creighton Blue Jays would face off against unranked BYU in Utah. BYU would end up beating Creighton 83-80 as they would outscore Creighton by 4 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the 21st ranked Blue Jays would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Arthur Kaluma. He had 27 points in 26 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and he would make 7 of his 11 free throws on the day. Creighton starting guard Baylor Shireman had 13 points and 11 rebounds in 33 minutes. He shot 3 for 11 from the field and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, unranked BYU would be led in scoring by their guard off the bench, Rudy Williams. Their senior out of Canada would finish with 26 points, as well as 2 steals and 6 turnovers in 31 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field and 9 for 11 from the free throw line. BYU starting forward Fousseyni Traore finished with 11 points and 12 rebounds in 21 minutes. He shot 5 for 10 from the field as he made his only free throw attempt of the day. With this win, unranked BYU is 6-5 this season. And with this loss, the 21st ranked Creighton Blue Jays are 6-4 this year. Looking at the 22nd ranked team in the nation, the San Diego State Aztecs would lose at home to the unranked St. Mary's Gaels. They lost at the Jerry Coangelo Classic in Phoenix. St. Mary's would end up beating San Diego State by 7 after they outscored the Aztecs by 7 in the second half to overcome their tie coming out from the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the 22nd ranked San Diego State Aztecs would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Matt Bradley. Their senior out of San Bernardino, California, would have 13 points and 5 rebounds in 30 minutes. He shot 4 for 13 from the field as he made all 5 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, unranked St. Mary's would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Aiden Mahaney. Their freshman from Lafayette, California, would finish with 20 points in 33 minutes. He shot 6 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and he would make all 6 of his free throw attempts. With this win, the unranked St. Mary's Gaels are 8-3, and with this loss, 22nd ranked San Diego State is now holding on to a 7-3 record, as of course they were not the only ranked team to lose yesterday. Taking a look at what happened with the 24th ranked team in the nation, TCU, they would face off against unranked SMU. TCU would go on and beat SMU 83-75, as of course they don't only have a good football team right now. TCU won this game by 8 as they would outscore SMU by 6 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, TCU would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Mike Miles Jr. Their junior out of Highlands, Texas, would go on and finish with 18 points and 4 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he would shoot 6 for 8 from the free throw line. With this win, 24th ranked TCU is 8-1 in their first 9 games. And with this loss, unranked SMU is holding on to a 3-7 record. Last but not least, looking at a game that I skipped over that would take place in Atlanta at Holiday Hoopsgiving, 11th ranked Auburn would face off against unranked Memphis. Auburn would come in undefeated as the unranked Memphis Tigers would upset them 82-73. Memphis won this game by 9 after outscoring Auburn by 6 in the first half. On the losing end, 11th ranked Auburn would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Wendell Green Jr., and their guard off the bench, Katie Johnson. Wendell Green Jr. had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 fouls. And then, of course, off the bench, Katie Johnson would finish with 14 points and 2 steals in 25 minutes, as the guard from Atlanta, Georgia, would end up shooting 5 for 15 from the field and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, unranked Memphis would be led in scoring by their starting guard, Kendrick Davis. Their senior out of Houston, Texas, had 27 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 5 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 19 from the field as he made all 7 of their free throws. Memphis' starting forward, DeAndre Williams, had 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 steals against Auburn. In the 25 minutes he played, he would shoot 7 for 13 from the field. With this win, unranked Memphis is 8-2 in their first 10 games, and with this loss, 11th ranked Auburn is now 8-1 this year. Taking a look at how college basketball is going to carry over today, there is going to be a top 15 matchup at 4:30 on FS1 as 7th-ranked Tennessee will face off against 13th-ranked Maryland in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Both of these teams are 8-1. At 6 o'clock, 20th-ranked Iowa State is ready to host McNeese. And then at 8:30 on Big Ten Network, 23rd-ranked Mississippi State is going to go to Minnesota to face off against the unranked Golden Gophers. So that is what college sports is looking like. Taking a look at what's going on in professional sports, starting off with the NFL. At 1 o'clock, we're going to see a bunch of games all over. The Buffalo Bills are going to host the New York Jets, as these two teams are currently fighting for playoff spots in the AFC. The Jets are holding on to that 7th seed. The Cincinnati Bengals, the reigning AFC champs, are going to host the Cleveland Browns, as Deshaun Watson is back in the lineup, and the Browns aren't completely out of the playoff picture. At the same time, the 9-3 Dallas Cowboys are set to host the Houston Texans from within the state, as the Cowboys are holding on to that top wild card seed, 2 more wins than the New York Giants. As of right now, the Lions are set to host the Minnesota Vikings, who have the 2nd best record in the NFC. At 1 as well, the Tennessee Titans are going to host the 4-8 Jaguars. The New York Giants are set to host the Philadelphia Eagles, who currently have the best record in the NFL. And also at 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to host the division-leading Ravens, as with one more loss, the Steelers will get one loss, or with 2 more losses, the Steelers would clinch their first losing record in Mike Tomlin's tenure there. At 4:05, the 3-9 Denver Broncos are set to host the 9-3 Chiefs, who lead their division. The Chiefs are currently tied with the Bills for the best record in the AFC. At 4:25, the San Francisco 49ers, who are on the longest winning streak in the NFL at 5 wins, are currently set to face off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Seahawks are going to host the Panthers. Tonight on NBC, the 6-6 LA Chargers, who are just outside of the playoff picture, are set to host the 8-4 Miami Dolphins, who are holding on, or at least tied for, the best wild card record in the AFC. That's all that I have for you today before I preview tomorrow's game. Jumping to the NHL, starting off in Nashville, the Predators would host the Senators from Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators would end up beating the Nashville Predators 3-2. They would score 2 goals in the 3rd period, as they would take the outright lead in the beginning of the 2nd off of Alex DeBrincat's 7th goal of the year. The top star would go to Ottawa's right winger Drake Batherson out of Canada. He would go on and finish with a goal and an assist. The 2nd star went to Ottawa's center Shane Pinto. He would finish with 2 assists. With this road win, the Ottawa Senators are holding on to an NHL record of 11-14-2. Their 24 points in 27 games is the worst record in the Atlantic Division. Only the Columbus Blue Jackets have a worse record than the Senators in the East. The Senators are currently sitting 19 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins, as they have currently won 5 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the Nashville Predators are holding on to a record of 12-11-2. Their 26 points through 25 games is the 5th best record in the Central Division. They are currently sitting 11 points behind the Jets and the Stars, who are tied at the top of the Central. As with this loss, the Predators are on a 2-game losing streak, and they've lost 4 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Dallas, the Stars would host the Detroit Red Wings. The Stars would beat the Red Wings in overtime 3-2. The game-winning goal in overtime would come from Nils Lundkvist, his 3rd of the year, with about 30 seconds left on the clock. Nils Lundkvist, Dallas's defender out of Sweden, with the game-winning goal would be the top star of the game. With this overtime win at home, the Dallas Stars are holding on to a 16-7-5 record. Their 37 points through 28 games ties them with the Winnipeg Jets for the best record in the Central, even though they've played 2 more games than the Jets right now. In the West, they only trail the Vegas Golden Knights, who lead the Pacific Division. They trail the Golden Knights by 4 points. As of right now, the Stars sit 7 points ahead of the 3rd-place Minnesota Wild. The Stars are on a 2-game winning streak, and they've now won 5 of their last 10 games to date. With this overtime loss, the Detroit Red Wings are now 13-8-6. They are tied with the Flyers for the most overtime losses in the entire NHL right now. They are holding on to 32 points through 27 games. That is the 4th best record in the Atlantic Division. Right now, they are sitting 11 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Red Wings are on a 2-game losing streak as they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games so far. 2 of those 5 losses would come in overtime or later. Jumping out to Tampa Bay, the reigning Eastern Conference champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, would host the Florida Panthers from within their own state. The Lightning would beat the Panthers 4-1. They would break the 1-1 tie after scoring 3 unanswered goals in the third period. Their go-ahead goal would be Braden Point's 14th goal of the season. The top star would be Tampa Bay's Russian goalie, Andrei Vasilevsky. He would finish with just 1 allowed goal on the day as he had 24 saves, saving 96% of them. The third star of the game would be Tampa Bay's defender Cal Foote, as he would finish with 2 assists. With this win at home versus their in-state rival, the Tampa Bay Lightning are holding on to a 17-9-1 record. Their 35 points through 27 games is the 3rd best record in the Atlantic Division. They sit 8 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. They're on a 2-game winning streak as they have now won 7 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the Florida Panthers are 13-11-4. Their 30 points in 28 matches is the 5th best record in the Atlantic Division. They are currently sitting 13 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Panthers have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping up to Montreal in the French portion of Canada, the Canadiens would host the Los Angeles Kings. The Kings would end up beating the Montreal Canadiens after making the trip. They would beat them 4-2 after scoring the first 3 goals of the game. The top star will go to Anze Kopitar's the LA Kings center out of Yugoslavia. He would go on and finish with 1 goal. As with this road win, the Los Angeles Kings are currently holding an NHL record of 15-11-4. Their 34 points through 30 games is the 2nd best record in the Pacific Division. They currently sit 7 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights, as the Kings have won 4 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Montreal Canadiens are 13-12-2. As of right now, their 28 points in 27 games is the 3rd worst record in the Atlantic Division. They sit 15 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins, and the Canadiens have lost 5 of their last 10 games to date. Taking a look at what would happen in Pittsburgh, the Penguins would host the Buffalo Sabres. Pittsburgh would end up beating Buffalo 3-1 after Pittsburgh would score the first 2 goals of the game in the first period. The top star will go to Pittsburgh's future Hall of Fame center out of Cole Harbour, Canada, Sidney Crosby. He would finish with 2 goals and an assist. The second star of the game will go to Pittsburgh's goalie out of New Hampshire, Casey DeSmith. He would allow just 1 goal on the game from Buffalo as he had 37 saves, saving 97% of them. With this win, the Pittsburgh Penguins are holding on to a 16-8-4 record. Their 36 points ties them with the Carolina Hurricanes for the 2nd best record in the Metropolitan Division. The Penguins are currently sitting 7 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. The Penguins are on a 5-game winning streak. The Penguins' 5-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the NHL. The Penguins have won 8 of their last 10 games so far. And with this loss, the Buffalo Sabres are 12-4-2. Their 26 points in 28 games is the 2nd worst record in the Atlantic Division. The Sabres are sitting 17 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Sabres are on a 2-game losing streak as they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games so far. Taking a look at what would happen in Toronto, the Maple Leafs would take the Calgary Flames to overtime after the Maple Leafs would force overtime off of Michael Bunting's 5th goal of the year. In overtime, less than a minute in, off of the power play, the Maple Leafs would win it off of what would be Mitchell Marner's 12th goal of the season. The top star of the game would be Toronto's right winger out of Calgary, who played against the Calgary Flames, William Nylander. He had 2 goals and 3 assists. The second star of the game would go to Mitchell Marner, Toronto's right winger, who got the game-winning goal. He had a goal and an assist. Toronto's center, Auston Matthews, would finish with a goal and 2 assists. With this home win, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 18-5-6. Their 42 points in 29 games is the second best record in the Atlantic Division. They sit only 1 point behind the division-leading Boston Bruins, as they are on a 3-game winning streak as of right now. Only the Pittsburgh Penguins have a longer active winning streak in the East than the Maple Leafs right now, and the Maple Leafs have won 8 of their last 10 games so far. With this overtime loss, the Calgary Flames are 13-11-4. With 30 points in 28 games, they hold on to the 5th best record in the Pacific Division. They are sitting 11 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Flames are on a 2-game losing streak, as they have now lost 6 of their last 10 games so far, as 2 of those 6 losses would come in overtime or later. Looking at what would happen in New York, the Islanders would host the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes would shut the Islanders out 3-0. The top star in this game would be Carolina center Jordan Staal, who scored the team's 3rd goal. Jordan Staal, Carolina center out of Thunder Bay, Ontario, would be the top star. The second star would be Carolina's goalie, Pyotr Kochetkov. Their Russian goalie would allow no goals on the day, as he had 16 saves. With this road win, the Carolina Hurricanes are holding on to a record of 15-6-6. Their 36 points through 27 games is tied with the Pittsburgh Penguins for the second best record in the Metropolitan Division. They sit only 7 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. The Carolina Hurricanes have won 5 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the New York Islanders are 17-12-0. They're currently still the only team in the NHL who has yet, or in the Eastern Conference of the NHL, who has yet to lose in overtime. Their 34 points in 29 games is currently 9 points behind the division-leading Devils. Right now, they've lost 4 of their last 10. Like I said, they're sitting with the 4th best record in the Metropolitan Division. Taking a look at what would happen in the Canadian Southwest, the Vancouver Canucks would end up hosting the Minnesota Wild. The Wild would beat the Canucks 3-0, scoring a goal in every single period this game in order to run away with it. The top star of this particular game would be Minnesota's goalie, Filip Gustavsson. Minnesota's goalie out of Sweden would allow no goals, as he had 35 saves. The second star would be Minnesota's right winger out of Norway, Mats Zuccarello. He would finish with 2 assists, and with this road win, the Minnesota Wild are now 14-11-2. Their 30 points through 27 games is the 3rd best record in the Central Division. They sit 7 points behind the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars, who are currently tied for the division lead. The Wild are currently they've won 7 of their last 10 games to date. And with this loss, the Vancouver Canucks are 12-13-3. Their 27 points through 28 games is the 3rd worst record in the Pacific Division. The Canucks sit 14 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights, and they've now lost 4 of their last 10 games to date. Taking a look at what is going on today in the NHL, at 3 o'clock, we're going to see the St. Louis Blues host the defending champs Avalanche on ESPN. The Blues enter this matchup with the 3rd worst record in the Central, as the Avalanche have the 4th best record in that division. On NHL Network at 8 o'clock, the Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights are set to host the Boston Bruins, who are tied with the New Jersey Devils for the best record in the entire NHL. That's going to be on NHL Network. Outside of the primetime games, at 6 o'clock, the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to host the Kings to try to pick up their 10th win of the season. At 6 o'clock, the Florida Panthers are going to host the Seattle Kraken, who are looking to get back into 2nd place in the Pacific Division. At 7, the Arizona Coyotes are going to host the Philadelphia Flyers, as the Coyotes are holding the 2nd worst record in the Central Division, and the Flyers are holding the 2nd worst record in the Metropolitan Division. And then at 7, the Central Division leading Winnipeg Jets are set to host the Washington Capitals. And of course, once all of those games are done today, I will catch up with you tomorrow. Taking a look at what would happen in yesterday's NBA games, starting off in Miami, the Heat would host the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs would end up beating Miami 115 to 111. They won this game by 4 after outscoring the Heat by 6 in the second quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Heat would be led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler. Butler had 30 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in 32 minutes. He shot 11 for 16 from the field and 8 for 10 from the free throw line. Miami starting guard out of Kentucky, Tyler Hero, had 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the visiting San Antonio Spurs would be led in scoring by their starting small forward, Keldon Johnson. Johnson had 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 7 for 15 from the field as he made all 7 of his free throw attempts. With this road win, the San Antonio Spurs are now 8-18. As of right now, the Spurs are holding on to the second worst record in the West. They sit 9.5 games behind the conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Spurs are on a 2-game winning streak as they've won 2 of their last 10 so far after their 11-game losing streak. With this loss, the Miami Heat are now 12-15. The Heat are holding on to the 10th best record in the East as they sit 3 games below 500, and they sit 9 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Heat have lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Indianapolis, the Indiana Pacers would host the surging Brooklyn Nets. The Nets would beat the Pacers 136 to 133. The Nets would win this game by 3 after outscoring the Pacers by 8 in the fourth quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Indiana Pacers were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Iowa State, Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton had 35 points, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 5 turnovers in 37 minutes. He shot 12 for 15 from the field, 7 for 8 from 3. He would make all 4 of his free throw attempts. And on the winning end of this matchup, the visiting Brooklyn Nets would be led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Cam Thomas. Their shooting guard out of LSU would finish with 33 points and 3 rebounds in 29 minutes. He shot 13 for 20 from the field. He would make all 3 of his 3-pointers as he shot 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Brooklyn starting point guard out of Australia, Patty Mills, had 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 20 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Brooklyn starting point guard Edmund Sumner had 21 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals as he nearly fouled out in 27 minutes. Sumner would shoot 7 for 13 from the field and 6 for 7 from the free throw line. Brooklyn starting center Day'Ron Sharpe had 20 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 5 fouls in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Their power forward, Markieff Morris, had 15 points and 11 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 4 for 7 from the field as he made all 6 of his free throw attempts. With this road win, the Brooklyn Nets are holding on to a 16-12 record. They are holding on to the 4th best record in the East. They sit 5.5 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Nets are on a 3-game winning streak, tied with the Toronto Raptors for the second longest active winning streak in the East. Only the Milwaukee Bucks have a longer winning streak in the East than the Nets do. With this loss, the Indiana Pacers are 14-13. That is the 6th best record in the East as they sit 7 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Pacers have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to our nation's capital, out in Washington, D.C., the Wizards would host the LA Clippers. The Clippers would end up beating the Wizards by 7 on the road. They won at 114-107. They would outscore the Wizards by 10 in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Wizards would be led in scoring by their starting small forward, Kyle Kuzma. He had 35 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 14 for 27 from the field, 7 for 11 from 3. Their starting center, Kristaps Porzingis, would finish with 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists, as well as 2 blocks in 37 minutes. He would shoot 8 for 20 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 12 for 13 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the visiting LA Clippers were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Paul George. He had 36 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in 41 minutes. He shot 13 for 27 from the field, 5 for 12 from 3, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Back in their starting lineup, still in their starting lineup, the Clippers' goated starting small forward, Kawhi Leonard, would finish with 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in 30 minutes. The two-time NBA champ would shoot 5 for 13 from the field, and he would make both of his free throw attempts on the night. With this road win, the LA Clippers are 15-13 right now. They're holding on to the 7th best record in the Western Conference. They are sitting 3.5 games behind the Western Conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Clippers have won 4 of their last 10 games so far, and with this loss, the Washington Wizards are 11-16. As of right now, the Wizards are holding on to the 4th worst record in the East. They sit 10 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Wizards are holding on to a 6-game losing streak. The Wizards' 6-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the NBA. The Wizards have lost 9 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Cleveland, the Cavaliers would host the OKC Thunder. The Cavaliers would end up beating the Thunder by 8. They won it 110-102 after they outscored the Thunder by 13 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Oklahoma City Thunder were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Kentucky, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He had 23 points and 2 steals as he fouled out in 31 minutes. Shai would shoot 7 for 13 from the field as he made all 19 of his free throws. OKC starting shooting guard from Australia, Josh Giddey, had 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field as he made both of his free throws. OKC starting forward, Aleksej Pokusevski, would finish with 16 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field. He would make all 3 of his 3-pointers as he shot 1 for 2 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Cavaliers would be led in scoring by their starting shooting guard out of Michigan, Caris LeVert. LeVert finished with 22 points in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 22 from the field as he shot 4 for 9 from 3. The Cavaliers starting power forward, Evan Mobley, finished with 21 points and 12 rebounds in 37 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 3 for 5 from the free throw line. Cleveland starting center and former All-Star out of Texas, Jarrett Allen, had 21 points and 11 rebounds in 37 minutes. He shot 7 for 9 from the field, and with this win at home, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 17-10. That is the 3rd best record in the Eastern Conference. They currently sit 4 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Cavs have won 6 of their last 10 games to date. And with this loss, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 11-15. That is the 4th worst record in the Western Conference. They are sitting 6.5 games behind the Western Conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Thunder are on a 2-game losing streak as they have lost 6 of their last 10 games. Taking a look at what would happen in Chicago off Lake Michigan, the Chicago Bulls would host the Dallas Mavericks. The Bulls would win this game by 29 at home. They won it 144-115 in regulation. The Bulls would outscore the Mavericks by 10 in the first quarter and then by 19 in the second. They were up by 29 at the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Dallas Mavericks were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie had 27 points and 8 assists in 29 minutes. He shot 9 for 15 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the free throw line. Dallas' starting forward, Christian Wood, had 21 points and 9 rebounds in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 15 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and he would shoot 2 for 3 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Bulls would be led in scoring by their starting small forward and former perennial All-Star DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan would finish with 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists in 32 minutes. He would go on and shoot 9 for 13 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and DeRozan would make all 9 of his free throws. The Bulls' former All-Star center, Nikola Vucevic, had 20 points and 8 rebounds in 26 minutes. He shot 8 for 11 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and he would make both of his free throws. With this home win, the Chicago Bulls are holding on to an 11-14 record. That is the 5th worst record in the East, as they now sit 9 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. The Bulls are on a 2-game winning streak as they have won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Dallas Mavericks are now holding on to a 13-13 record. They are tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves for the 10th best record in the West. They are sitting 4.5 games behind the conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Mavericks have lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to San Francisco, the defending champs Golden State Warriors would host the Boston Celtics, as the Celtics came in with the best record in the NBA. The Warriors would beat the Celtics by 16 at home. They won it 123-107, as the Warriors are now sitting a game over 500. The Warriors won this game by 16 after they outscored the Celtics by 8 in the first quarter and then by 7 in the third. They would start out both of their halves really well. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their starting guard out of Cal, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had 31 points and 9 rebounds as well as 3 assists in 37 minutes. Brown shot 13 for 23 from the field. He would shoot 3 for 9 from 3, and he would make both of his free throws. Boston's elite starting small forward out of Duke, Jason Tatum, had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 6 for 21 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3, and 4 for 7 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown defending champs Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard and 4-time champion Klay Thompson. Thompson had 34 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals, as he nearly fouled out in 36 minutes. Klay Thompson shot 14 for 26 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the foul line, of course playing against the team that they beat in the finals last year. The Warriors would be led, or I guess after Klay Thompson, they will be led in scoring by their goated starting point guard, Stephen Curry. The 4-time champion would finish with 32 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists in 37 minutes. He would go on and shoot 12 for 21 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, as he would make both of his free throws. And then Golden State's starting shooting guard, Jordan Poole, had 20 points in 33 minutes. He would shoot 5 for 16 from the field and 9 for 10 from the foul line. With this home win, the Golden State Warriors are 14-13 right now. Overall, they're holding on to the 8th best record in the West. They sit 4 games behind the conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Warriors have won 6 of their last 10 games. The Grizzlies are the only other team in the West who have only lost 2 games at home alongside the Warriors. And with this loss, the Boston Celtics are 21-6. That is still the best record in the NBA. In the Eastern Conference, they sit a full game ahead of the second-place Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics have lost 2 of their last 10 games to date. Taking a look now at what would happen in Denver, the Nuggets would host the Utah Jazz. Denver would end up beating Utah at home 115-110. They won this game by 5 after they would outscore Utah by 7 in the second quarter. That was their biggest quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Jazz were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Their shooting guard out of Virginia Tech would go on and finish with 27 points and 6 turnovers in 40 minutes. He would shoot 9 for 16 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Denver Nuggets were led in scoring by their elite starting center, the reigning back-to-back NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic out of Serbia. He would finish with 31 points, 12 rebounds, 14 assists, and 4 blocks in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 20 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 8 for 10 from the free throw line. Denver's starting point guard out of Kentucky, Jamal Murray, had 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. He would do all of this in 36 minutes. He would go on and shoot 13 for 19 from the field. Jamal Murray would shoot a perfect 3 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, the Denver Nuggets are currently holding on to a 16-10 record. They're holding on to the third best record in the West as they are tied with the Phoenix Suns. They are sitting a game and a half behind the Western Conference leading New Orleans Pelicans for the time being. And then, of course, on the losing end of this matchup, the Utah Jazz are 15-14. That is the ninth best record in the Western Conference. They now sit 4 games behind the Western Conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Jazz have lost their last 2 games, and they've now lost 7 of their last 10. Just to give you a sense of where the Jazz are sitting, because they were at the top of the West for a little bit. Taking a look now at what would happen in Portland, last but not least, in the U.S. Pacific Northwest, the Portland Trail Blazers would end up hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. They won this game by 6 at home after outscoring the Wolves by 7 in the second half to overcome their 1-point deficit. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Timberwolves would be led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Anthony Edwards. Their former number 1 overall pick out of Georgia would finish with 26 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 41 minutes. Ant-Man would shoot 10 for 20 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Minnesota's elite starting center out of France, Rudy Gobert, had 24 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals in 36 minutes. He shot 9 for 11 from the field and 6 for 9 from the free throw line. Minnesota's starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell, had 24 points and 3 steals as well as 5 blocks in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 15 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this match, the hometown Portland Trail Blazers would be led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Weber State, Damian Lillard. Lillard would go on and finish with 36 points on the day in 41 minutes. He would shoot 9 for 22 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3. He would make all 15 of his free throws on the day. Portland starting shooting guard Anthony Simons had 31 points and 3 rebounds in 35 minutes. He shot 13 for 22 from the field as he shot 5 for 10 from 3. With this home win, the Portland Trail Blazers are 14-12. That is the 6th best record in the Western Conference. They are sitting 3.5 games behind the Western Conference leading New Orleans Pelicans. The Blazers have won 4 of their last 10 games to date, and with this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 13-13. Sitting at 500, they are tied with the Dallas Mavericks for the 10th best record in the West. The Timberwolves are sitting 4.5 games behind the Western Conference leading Pelicans, and the Timberwolves have lost 5 of their last 10 games so far. So that is what the NBA is looking like as we get to today's matchups. Today is Sunday, so of course there will not be any primetime games today, actually. At 3:30, the Western Conference leading Pelicans are set to host the Phoenix Suns, who are holding on to the 3rd best record in the West, tied with the Nuggets. At 6 o'clock, the Detroit Pistons, who currently have the worst record in the NBA, are slated to host the LA Lakers, and at the same time, the Knicks are going to host the Kings, the Magic are going to host the Raptors, and the 76ers are set to host the Charlotte Hornets. And then, of course, at 6:30, the Atlanta Hawks are set to host the Chicago Bulls. Last but not least, the Houston Rockets, who hold the worst record in the West, are set to host the Milwaukee Bucks. So there's a lot going on today, but I do want to thank the ESPN, the FIFA, the World Cup, the college football, college basketball, NCAA, NFL, NHL, and NBA websites for giving me all the facts and figures, because of course I can't just make up these numbers by myself. And I do want to thank everyone for following along, and if I did butcher some names, I do plan on getting better eventually. But with that said, I thank everyone for listening. I do have some episodes after this as the college football awards were listed. But with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening, and I will catch you with more tomorrow once everything is through today. Thanks once again for listening. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. Peace out. I'll catch you with more.